Well, you don't need any government experience to run for president in this country under the Constitution. The Constitution, the framers anticipated that people would run who were not experienced in government. I've been around government my whole life. I'd say my principal qualification is that I've litigated against almost every one of the major federal agencies. I've sued CDC, NIH, EPA, FDA, USDA, the Department of Agriculture, the Department of Transportation. When you litigate against these agencies, you get a PhD in corporate capture and how to unravel it.
But respectfully, that's in court. There's a lot of lawyers. We're both lawyers. But running the whole federal government, coming in with the problems you're just defining, and having never shown through your time an interest in that kind of public service. Other service, sure, but not that government service. You mentioned your family. You brought up your family. Everyone in your family served in lower positions before pursuing the White House, some of them with congressional experience running 7, 10, 15 years. And you look at that and you look at your name, and while political dynasties run in both parties, do you think you'd be doing what you're doing without your name? If you were a lawyer without the name Kennedy, how would your campaign be going?
I think I'm better qualified than anybody who's running to run the government. And the reason for that is that the biggest issue, Ari, today is the merger of state and corporate power. It feeds the war machine. It feeds the chronic disease epidemic. It feeds the Fed, the runaway taxes, all of the issues that we have.
But your core experience argument is you've done court cases on that, so you have a different view of that than people.
And I'm not intimidated by the agencies, and that's the problem with every other politician who comes in. They all say they're going to fix things. But they look at these agencies, like, for example, NIH or the CIA, which has 20,000 employees, NIH with 30,000 employees. And any of them at almost any level can commit a civil disobedience that will embarrass the president if he does something they don't like. So people like President Trump or President Biden come in and say, I'm going to drain the swamp. And then they appoint Scott Gottlieb, who's a business partner of Pfizer, to want to run FDA.
No,
why would you do that?
Well,
why would you appoint John Bolton, who is the father of the war machine, to run the NSA?
In fairness, I think that diagnosis is a fair issue to raise. I'm asking you about the experience. I also want to ask about...
I think my experience is more relevant to fixing the government than the people who are actually part of the government, because they get co-opted into this system where nothing's going to be fixed. So they're all profiting on it. I'm coming in from the outside. I actually know how to fix it. I'm not intimidated by these agencies. I know who the individuals are in some of these agencies who are causing the problems. Okay. I know the perverse incentives.
I'm going to jump in.